Hello everyone, Lily here. Welcome to my channel. And for those returning viewers, welcome back. Today I thought I would do a decluttering video because I've made some decisions of things that I'm getting rid of in my collection. And I just thought I'd show my progress in this. So let me start with the first one that's on the table here. And it's the Numinous Tarot. I'll be honest here, and I'll just say that the reason why I'm getting rid of this deck is because I've never used it much, actually. It's one of those decks that I decided to get because everyone was having it. It was a case of fear of missing out when it showed up on Kickstarter, I think for the third time. I like the idea behind it. I like the diversity. I like what it stands for. It's just that at the end of the day, they're not my aesthetics. And actually, I actually don't like it when the suits are changed. I mean, it doesn't matter how much it makes sense. I just don't like thinking about when I'm reading. I just don't like it if I have to think, well, is bells, what is bells? You know, air, fire, water. And anyway, the thing is it like I said, it trips me up. And it interrupts my train of thought when I'm reading. So the Numinous Tarot is going. Along with this, it's the companion Oracle deck, the Threadbound Oracle. And the thing about this deck is I just never bothered to start learning the system because it does have a bit of a system. I should have thought about it more when I bought this because I like the idea because of the suits they have, although they do have keywords. I don't mind suits so much in an Oracle deck. But the thing is that I actually like to use an Oracle deck right out of the box. And that's why I like keywords, which this has. But at the same time, just like the Numinous Tarot, this art is not my aesthetic. And I'm not someone, I think this deck was meant to be used if you're writing stories. And while I like the idea of doing that, I just never do. So it's not something that I come out and use this deck for. So the Threadbound Oracle is on its way out too. Next on the list is this one here. The Neo Rider from the Neo Rider Tarot collection. And this deck is in order. The reason why I'm getting rid of this deck is just that I already have so many Rider-Waite-Smith decks, imagery, like straight imagery, where they have been recolored, that I just never reached out for this one. And actually, I also had the Shadow edition of this deck. And it's one that I have already sold. And the thing about this deck too is that the cardstock is really slippery. So the thing is it's so too slippery for me that if I try and handle the deck with my small hands, I'll often end up playing 78 pickup. so so it's one of the reasons why I'll be getting rid of this one as well. The next one is the Marshmallow Tarot. So this one, the simple reason that I'm getting rid of this one is just that I have a copy from a later edition, and I honestly don't need 2 copies. That's the only reason why this one is leaving my collection, and I'm getting rid of. You know, because it is cute, and like I said, I don't need more than 1. This is probably no surprise to anyone. I'm getting rid of the Wild Known Tarot. This is the 2nd edition, the indie version, the one that came with the leaflet. And the main reason why I'm getting rid of this one is because, again, this was a 2nd copy that I have. I have the 1st edition with a different back, which is shaped like a diamond. And, you know, me and the Wild Unknown have a history. We don't always get along. I don't always understand it. And like I said, I already have the 1st edition. I'm keeping that one for collection purposes, and I do like to use it once in a while because it is one of those decks that I actually like the art. I just don't understand it all that well. Along with that, I'm getting rid of the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit. And this is also the indie version. Actually, there's the leaflet right there. Again, this is one of those decks where I like the art. I like the idea. I'm just not much of an animal deck person. And I have enough Oracle decks that I don't like Oracle decks without keywords, which this doesn't have. So the thing is, every time I pull a card, I need to use the guidebook. I'm not so dedicated to one deck that I want to study it and learn it by heart. So it just sits there in my collection, and I don't use it. Even though, you know, I do like the designs, and well, I'm not versed enough in animal lore to make sense of it intuitively. The next one is the beautiful Rebellion Tarot. This is a deck that I got. Well, you know what? It's a substitute for me. It was a substitute for Tarot Delphi. A lot of the images are repeats, even though they might be assigned different suits. I've seen some people use this deck for ancestral work, but personally, I have other decks I think I would probably reach more for that when I come around to it. But at the same time, this deck and I have not been able to connect. So I can't read with it. Unless I just rely on the titles. But the thing is I don't like relying just on the titles. I like to use the image on the card to or my style of reading is, you know, it's a combination of what I see on the card and, you know, if the traditional meaning makes sense. And this deck just doesn't speak to me in that sense. So, next up on my list of decks I'm getting rid of, the Golden Thread Tarot. The interesting part of that about this deck is the cards are made out of plastic, so they're very durable. And actually, you know what? It's I like the imagery on it, but it's just another Rider-Waite-Smith clone. And I don't reach out for it. I like the two-tone, you know, the gold and the black. But again, I have two other decks that are black and white. And I actually got rid of another one before, another black and white deck. But you know what? It's a good deck all around. If the imagery is a little bit simple, and downgrade is not the exact word, but simplified, I guess, would be the right word, where you have the essentials and no extra. So. Speaking of Rider-Waite-Smith decks that have been recolored, here's another one, the Blacklight Tarot. Here are the backs. And I just did a video a couple days ago about this deck. It's still in order, where I explained where I was comparing it with the Rider-Waite-Smith Centennial. I was looking at the differences in symbols and the image, you know, how this deck changed from the other one, apart from the colors. So the thing is I've already determined in that video that I was not keeping it for the various reasons I mentioned in there. But at the same time I also have two other decks that have been recolored. The Tripping Weight and the Groovy Weight Tarot. And I also have one of the Christmas ones, the Winter Weight. So the thing is that this was like number 4 from the same company, Sun Creators. And that was one of the reasons why I was looking at it. This is my least favorite one out of the 4. And I'm still undecided what I'm going to do with the Tripping Weight and Groovy Weight. So the thing is these are staying in my collection for now. But let's look, you know. It's too bad I'm getting rid of the Tripping Squirrel, though. I'm getting rid of my Oak, Ash, and Thorn deck. And I don't know what to say about this deck. It's actually not the deck. I just have other reasons why I'm getting rid of this deck, because I decided I no longer want to support this creator. I don't want to get too much into it, but yeah, you know, it's not their customer service. It's not the deck. I just don't like it when people go in forums, creators go in forums where people who buy tarot decks and discuss tarot decks take umbrage when someone says something they don't like, which wasn't even directed at them. So the thing is that's basically it. So this deck is leaving my collection. I'm getting rid of my copy of the Mythic Tarot. I no longer have the box. I no longer have the spread cloth that came with it. And it's a deck I've had for a long time. I've become a card snob. This deck is despite me having it for a long time. The cardstock is terrible. And I've been babying it. But the thing is that because of the cardstock, and it seems that every time I use it, it chips a little bit. And because it is a collectible, because this art, they changed the art at some point, and this particular version has been out of print for a long time, I wasn't using it. And it's one of those decks too that I like reading the stories more than I like using the deck. I don't know if anybody understands that. This was, I think, one of the first decks where it had a theme, and the authors were saying, well, we picked the Nine of Swords, the Nine of Pentacles, and this story. And this story, we think, depicts this card very well. And it made me understand the card better. But alas, I don't use a deck. And so this concludes my video for today, showing all the decks that I will be either selling or giving away, depending on what I decide and how much trouble I want to give myself. So I'm going to leave it here, and until next time, have a good day.